in order for us to achieve our ultimate global climate goals, we are going to need radical transformation globally. And if we think about virtually every sector of the economy that needs to decarbonize, that involves some form of infrastructure investment. And if we can incorporate green principles and green philosophy into the design thinking, that we believe will ensure a much more sustainable future. Why? Because that is where we need to go from a jobs point of view, right? This is creating the jobs of the future. It's creating a model that is, and to use a coin, sustainable, because the old ways of doing things clearly at this point are not working. And it's also going to ensure that we create resiliency in the economy, because so much of the climate debate is about decarbonization. But what we also must realize is that we have to adapt to the realities of the fact that climate change is here to stay. And infrastructure has a massive role to play with that. Resilient buildings that can withstand extreme heat and storm activity and so on. So that plays a very, very big role. And it also ensures that if we're thinking in a green way, that this transition that we all talk about is a just one. That we don't leave behind economies and their desire to prosper and grow. And this is in particularly most important in emerging markets, where they're disproportionately affected by climate change, but they have a real opportunity to leapfrog because they don't have existing infrastructure that has to be changed. They can go directly to the greener and more favorable solution. So first of all, our prediction is that the global economy between now and 2040 is going to need something like 80 trillion US dollar equivalent of investment in infrastructure. And of that, about 50 trillion is going to be needed to invest in the developing markets. And of that, about 40 billion is going to need to come into the Asia markets, which are rapidly growing, which are already adopting green principles and give us very good hope for a sustainable infrastructure future. So at Standard Chartered, we are very much a developing markets focused bank, and we have done numerous transactions to bring capital into greater infrastructure. So perhaps I can give you a couple of examples, maybe focusing on Africa, where oftentimes infrastructure is at its early stages, but is very necessary. So in the country of Angola, just this summer, we provided a 1.2 billion financing for a photovoltaic solution which reaches rural villages, which allows them self-sufficiency so they don't have to be subject to the vagaries of their grid. So it's really an important transaction for that country. And that actually follows on the heels of 2 years prior, where we provided another billion of financing for a water infrastructure project, which gives access to clean and safe drinking water. So these are, very, very important initiatives that are geared toward the early developing markets that are very much going to bring them along to that sustainable future that we talk about.